Hey everyone, Brahman Jenkins here. A little more Ghost Recon Future Soldier. We're going to be playing some Decoy today. And Decoy is swiftly becoming one of my favorite game modes to play with a full team. It's just, it's a little more faster paced than Conflict with the multiple objectives moving around the map. It feels a little bit more fair because Conflict can just basically try to destroy your own team even if you play a very good game. Conflict can start spawning objectives in the enemy spawn. It can start giving you HVT missions that are near impossible to complete if you don't know you're going to be the HVT. There's just a lot of problems. Decoy feels like it's a little more balanced. There's some issues with it, of course, like for example the fact that none of the enemy team was able to get to any of the 3 points on the map before we took all of them.
Right there in the doorway.
Just look at that. So the idea behind Decoy, and if you saw my previous video, you probably got the gist of it, is that there are 3 points on the map that the attacking team has to take. Only one of them is a viable point, however. The other 2 are just kind of there. And once you find the correct point, a 4th point on the map opens up. In this case, it's up in the enemy spawn. It's that demo point right there. And you have to go grab that. Similar to hacking the other 2, or the other 3. And you can win the game if you get it all the way through. Right there, that was just stupid of me. I started hacking a guy in their own spawn, but you know, it's usually worth it. The risk reward is pretty high on that. If you stun a guy, you get 150 points and the chance to hack him. If if you don't stun him, you just shoot him, you pretty much stand the same chance to die anyways. I'm hit with an OTR scanner from one of the guys up here. So my issue with the Bodark team in this game, and it's been pointed out many times while we're playing it, is that their guns kind of suck compared to some of the American guns. There's no real 417 equivalent. The gun you unlock at the same level as the 417 for the Americans is not very good. It's a 2-shot burst gun that does half the damage of the 417, and the second shot is almost never accurate. It always bounces up. So the 417 is just a much better gun by almost every comparison, and so the Russians are kind of stuck using the same gun the entire game. Oh good, I got head stomp as soon as I spawned there, which is one of the many dangers of spawning on your teammates. So at this point, we're kind of trying to just break their defenses. And this is what a lot of games of Decoy become. It becomes more of a tower defense game than anything else, setting up the correct people on the correct pathways to make sure that the other team doesn't break through. You'll notice I have a few engineers on my team, but no one's running UAV, which can be very important in a mode like this where you need to know exactly where these guys are going to come from, how you can get through there. I'm using incendiaries right now for my riflemen, and I find those pretty good for locking down locations and keeping people off of me. Ooh, yeah, I almost had that one, but that guy was definitely going to come kill my ass. I'm also running an underbarrel shotgun on the AK here, and I find that really useful. And I don't really even use it to the very end because I completely forget about it 3 or 4 times a game. So as you can see, I have 2 guys on my squad who are already engineers, and then I've got at least 1 more person out on the field who's an engineer. So you would think that no more engineers are really needed, but people are not running UAVs. So it makes it a little more difficult. They're trying to run assault engineer, which is a completely viable option, especially if you have a shotgun. But in this case, the UAVs would be invaluable, and I'll make up for that later on.
Throwing thermite.
Decoy has a few weird quirks in it that we really need to mention if we're going to talk about it in fairness of any nature. One of them is that, yes, constantly the spawn point for the final objective will be in the enemy base, essentially. So you'll probably cause a spawn flip a few times in a row. Not a big deal. You're usually able to make up for that. Actually, causing a spawn flip usually pushes them further away from the point than it pushes them towards it, which is kind of fun to watch. If you can cause a spawn flip, it usually means that you're going to win the game. They actually have to run some sort of distance to the point. The other quirk is that sometimes on some maps it is completely impossible for you to actually get to one of the points you need to defend. more likely than not, this will be the exact point that gives away the location of the game. It's very, very annoying when it happens, and I really wish it was a less common occurrence. But it seems that almost every map there's at least one gimme point. And from a side of fairness, I can almost see this being a great idea. It means that at least 1 point the enemy team will get. That means no team is ever going to be completely screwed unless they don't know what they're doing to basically at all with a controller in their hands. As long as they can run to at least 1 point and hold X, they will be able to get something. Of course, because of the nature of the game, it means they only have a third of a chance to get anything, but for some reason, whenever the enemy team does it to us, it always seems like it's the only point in the map that they really need to take.
I have jammers up. I wonder if those screw with UAVs.
Also, I've noticed that UAVs are less useful, or less used at the very least, in Decoy versus the other game modes. It appears that because of the stationary objectives and the really lack of need towards movement, you need to be in a couple of spots at any given time. Nowhere really in particular. Oh, look at this. That's what I like about the EMPs. The enemy team can't identify each other, so they'll end up trying to shoot each other. Just give me them points. So our team here is going to score this one, and it's a pretty difficult one to do. As you can see, the main reason I'm able to survive through it, or we were able to do this, is because we had really good team coverage. We had everyone stack up. It's really one of those modes where you need people to run in a team or it's not going to work.
Dead now.
And that's pretty much every mode in this game, to be completely honest. Bam, another intel assist. Yeah, as you can probably see, I don't use the engineer too often in this game. I usually end up being a rifleman. I really like the 417. The AK-200 isn't a bad gun. But 1 in 7, I had 10 team actions and came in second on the team through 1 round. Now, there are 3 rounds in a Decoy game, or only 2, depending on how things go. If you're able to defend and then attack, or attack and then defend correctly without the other team scoring the points, you will end in 2 rounds. But then if each team scores a point, then it's going to go straight into the 3rd round. And here comes another point in this game, and you probably have seen the video I put up of this, that on one map, a rig, if you capture, as Bodark, if you attack and successfully capture the first point, win it, and then the next round the ghosts go out and win it, you can pretty much make sure you always win the game. Ooh. By basically the time limit doesn't run out. Alright, once again I tried to hack a guy and I paid for it. You do get more points for hacking or stunning a guy than you do for shooting him straight up.
Bravo was cool.
As you can see, the enemy team has already failed to take B about twice, which is their gimme point. You saw how fast we took it last time. One thing to note when these guys are trying to take points is that you'll see little green bars on the side of the point, and those are their confidence. The more people who crowd around the point as it's being taken, the more confidence they'll have, and the faster the hack will go. It's a really useful little mechanic. It makes sure that the enemy team kind of sticks around, works together, all that good stuff. And here I was trying to see how well the incendiaries work. I'm so sorry I did not stop that guy, but I honestly had never seen a kill with an incendiary up until that point. And actually, I'm going to keep using them. They're useful for locking down locations, but they're not really an assault weapon. The enemy can run through them. If they're not damaged, they'll probably survive. So it's more of a weapon to lock down a location to keep them from going through a door. In a mode like Decoy, where you end up trying to hold down one location for much of the game, it's very useful. Also, as you're about to find out, they work on your teammates. I don't know why explosives seem to be the only thing that hurt your teammates. Flashbangs and EMP grenades do the same thing. And that was a puppy, so don't feel bad for him.
Teammates with frags, too.
But yes, incendiaries will kill your teammates, so you have to be careful about placement. And I really wish I'd done that better. The stun gun is a high risk, high reward weapon on a lot of levels. And so when I go out there and I use it like a primary, it means I put myself in a lot of danger each time. That was another dumb move right there. That guy probably could have taken me out pretty quickly. But here we are.
I decided to stick to the
Now, one thing you should know if you're playing as a rifleman is that if you place a ammo box down while you're crouching, it goes out much faster than if you were standing up. Your guy skips the crouching down animation, stopping and everything. Your guy just basically drops it. It's really useful. It's just a good little tip to know about. As you can see, they're back on the B point. I'm too far away to really affect anything. As you can see, my entire team running to the point, trying to stop him. What happened, and you can't hear it because I'm talking over Scion, is that the guy who was planting it saw how many people were running for him and abandoned his plant. Now, I actually think the B point is the objective they need to take, so they basically delayed themselves from being able to win this. It's kind of funny. And here I pop up at the right time, in the right place, which is always helpful. What I should be doing is switching to the underbarrel shotgun, but I tend to forget it's there sometimes. I have a completely different setup for my 417 and my AK200 here that I will sometimes forget exactly what I have going on. So, for example, on the 417, I have an overgassed system. I have a bipod grip on that, which I have actually yet to use. I've got an extended stock, all this stuff. In the AK200, I have an undergas system. I've got the underbarrel shotgun. I've got the same sight and the extended stock, but there's a few differences. And of course, I have the extended mags on the AK200, which gives me 60 bullets. I also have different grenades on each class too. So I've set up my classes a little different from each other, which in the end, it doesn't hurt me any, but I have to remember the perks of each class. You can really build towards the strengths.
I got objective denial points.
Alright, so they've taken B. Scion is, at this point, pointing out that he got points for defending the point, and yet they still took it, so he's a little confused, I guess you could say. I was confused as to how that guy shot me. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go through this building, right?
They can come around.
So it looks like they have found the point. And instead of being a demo, it's a plant. It's a hack point this time, and they're going to have to go and get behind this little alleyway over here, which is outside of our spawn, which makes it a little more difficult for us. It means they've got a little bit more free license to spawn camp us, and it means they have a few less approaches though, which is appreciated. They can only come down that doorway or down this alleyway. It also means they're a much better target for long distance grenades from us. Right now I'm focusing on this little alleyway. I'm really set up for that kind of class. I don't have to aim down sights for it. I can hip fire and pretty much still be fairly accurate. I'm realizing that I don't have any grenades. The upside to incendiaries is, of course, that you get 2 of them. I find that very useful, and if you're really trying to lock down a location, they're very helpful.
You're right now.
Now, one other thing that most people probably don't know is that incendiaries can, I think, I need to prove this theory out sometime, but I believe incendiaries can actually destroy enemy sensors that have been thrown on the ground. You'll see later on where I get a couple 150 points for destroying an enemy equipment, and the only person in the area was an engineer. I wasn't being jammed, and there was no sentry gun on the ground. So I think I actually destroyed a sensor. Oh, and here's a really dumb move on my part. I figured I could get this guy burned to death inside the store, and I stuck right here as a sensor ball comes flying out the doorway. Yuck. Wait for it. Oh, man, I forgot timing. So I knew there had to be more than one person in there because that guy was not just recovering from a throw, and then I did this. Yeah, I'm completely exposed in that position, so I figured I'd just try to shoot him. And I had a grenade dropped on my foot. Not really the best way to go.
Is there ammo at?
My team is holding down pretty well, I would say. No one's really gotten close to our point, and the ones who have gotten close have been beaten up pretty bad.
I'm good. Oh.
Right now, our focus is mostly on just keeping them out of this main building. If they're able to build up a sizable force and get a number of people in there, yep, see how fast that was? But if they're, oof, yeah, that guy, watch how long he followed me. He was in our spawn, and I was warned that there was somebody in our spawn. I didn't see
Get
him.
him.
That's the main issue with this location, is that there are going to be people who are just in our area.
Oh, shit.
There's a guy in the back alley lying prone.
Alright, so
It didn't work.
at this point, the engineer on our team would not be flying a UAV. It'd be pretty pointless, actually. Sensor grenades would be a bigger thing.
Stun gun that guy.
Let's set this guy on fire. Drop some ammo for Vert here.
Fuck. Yeah,
And let's switch to the shotgun. So he's been hurt. One
I'll
shot.
get you up, Crypto.
The issue with the underbarrel shotgun is that you only get 3 bullets with it, and you only get 6 total. Which means that you're going to get outclassed by most shotguns that come down your way. Now watch this.
Jesus.
I get a destroy point right there, 150 points. I don't know who threw what at me, but it worked.
Frag out!
Yeah.
And right now I'm getting damage points for setting somebody on fire.
Over here!
And let's switch back. You can run those ammo boxes out, by the way. And that was a rifleman, so that was a pretty good shot. Alright, that was me being stupid. I should have stun gunned that guy pretty quickly. But as you can see, that's a fairly effective weapon, the underbarrel shotgun. I really have to remember to use it more, especially in these close quarter situations around points. But for the most part, it's just a very useful weapon. I'm really liking the incendiary grenades. I don't mind the AK-200 that much, but I don't find it ultra useful. Now, my grenade didn't disappear, and I'll actually get a kill for throwing that grenade at that guy and setting him on fire. So we're getting pretty much spawn camped again, but most of my team's out there doing something about it instead of complaining, which is always pretty cool. If you're on a pubby team and you're not in your own party, you will hear a lot of complaining when you get spawn camped, even if they can do something about it. So all I have to do is just switch over here and finish off some spawn campers. I didn't realize that that guy was actually a bad guy until a little after he was already killing my friend. And that motherfucker just got the most unlucky spawn ever inside somebody else. Spawning on people is a tricky proposition in this game, and I am loath to do it a lot of the time, unless I know they're safe. And I would suggest always asking somebody if they're safe instead of spawning right on them. But we're fairly close to the end here. We held these guys off at 2 points, or we held them off to 2 rounds, which is kind of becoming a rarity, which I don't mind. I think that this game, its real appeal is getting a lot of points and kind of the different game style you have to play to, because you're not going to be attacking several different points across the map. You have to really know your area around 4 different ones, and being able to cope with sometimes having to run across the map to defend a point is kind of hard. But thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully I'll have more of these up soon. As you can see, I did kind of okay. Bye.